Welcome to our video lesson on complementary angles. You need to write down this title up here, complementary angles, this definition, and then make a quick sketch of this example. If the sum of the measures of two angles is 90 degrees, the angles are complementary. What that means is that if when you add together the value of two angles, it gives you 90 degrees, those two angles are a special pair of angles called complementary angles. For example, an angle of 19 degrees plus an angle of 71 degrees is equal to an angle of 90 degrees, which means angle 19 and angle 71 are complementary. Let's double check that that's correct by adding 19 plus 71. 9 plus 1 is 10. 7 plus 1 is 8 plus 1 is 9, so it's 90. So we know that these two angles are complementary. If you need to, pause the video now and get the rest copied down. Here's how we're going to use complementary angles. We're going to use complementary angles to solve for another angle. For example, in number 1, angle B plus angle 21 is equal to 90 degrees. We know that because remember this little symbol down here represents 90 degrees. It means that it's a right angle. I need you to write this down exactly the way I write it. This is another example of a problem where you need to write your answer exactly the way I do. So we know that B plus 21 plus 1 degrees is equal to 90 degrees. Hopefully you recognize this type of problem. We need to figure out what B is. To solve for B, we need it to be by itself. To get B by itself, we are going to do the opposite of whatever this sign is. We're going to subtract 21 degrees from both sides, so that we have B plus 21 degrees minus 21 degrees is equal to 90 degrees minus 21 degrees. So then we get B is equal to whatever 90 minus 21 degrees. So B is equal to 69 degrees. If you're struggling with this problem, pause it and watch it again. Make sure you've written it down clearly in your notebook, and then you can raise your hand and ask me. If you're okay with this problem, let's move on to the next type of problem, where you don't have a picture. It just asks you, what is the complement of 77 degrees? Well, complement will be the angle that when added to 77 degrees gives us a right angle, or 90 degrees. So we're going to assign a letter value. So if we're assigning a letter value, we need to write a let statement. Again, you need to write it in this problem, please. Let, we can choose any letter. I'll say C. Represent, so again you can just write rep. The measure of the angles complement. Okay, now that we have our let statement done, we need to write this as a problem. Well, we know that whatever C is, plus 77 has to be 90 degrees. So I'm going to write C plus 77 degrees is equal to 90 degrees. Now we're going to do the same thing we did up here. In order to get C by itself, we need to subtract 77 from both sides. You can choose how you want to write it. You can write it the way I did up above, or you can write it the way I've written it in the past, or minus 77, and then you let C is equal to 13 degrees. If you're struggling with that type of question, please pause the video and watch it again. And then if you're still struggling, raise your hand and ask me a problem. Please make sure you've written down everything that I wrote down in this video in your notebook. Okay, that's all for now. See you later.